NgalSo. Let's, for one moment, look at this object. Okay, can you see it? First of all, video of Lumpo Tata was good? Okay, I rejoice. So let's look at this object. Okay, what is this? Everyone agrees? That's a bell, right? Okay, from all the parts that compose the bell, all the characteristics that it upholds, what is the one that defines it as a bell, most of everything else? What's the most important characteristic of it? Is the handle, or the fact that it makes a sound? Or what, if we think about all the characteristics of the bell, all the parts that make the bell a bell, what is the one that defines, that makes it as a bell the most, without which it could not exist as a bell? Okay, the question is a bit tricky, okay, but it's the name. Okay? Because as long as I don't call it a bell, it is not a bell. And someone may say, yes, but it still rings. Yes. But not everything that rings is a bell, is it? No. Or yes, I don't know. The question is that when we look to anything, when we take, for instance, a book, or we take any other phenomenon, a flower, the characteristic of the object that defines the object more than anything else, is the name, is the identity, is the value attributed to it. Okay? If we take a very simple object, glass of water, we may think that everyone will see this object in the same way. But what happens when we put a thirsty person in front of water, when we put someone that had drank too much water, okay, and then we put a fish? Do we see the water in the same way or not? And then you also look at the same water from the owner of the mineral water company, Do we see the water in the same way? Actually, it's quite strange what we were able to do. Sorry if I open and close these brackets. One of the most natural things in life is water, right? And someone had this stupid but yet incredible idea to put it inside a bottle. And they were thinking, is there going to be anyone stupid enough to buy it? And here we are. We were able to create this culture around us that, we have the very nice water source here in the temple, and here we are with waters in a bottle. And we think that because it's in the bottle, it's better than the one outside, and that's name. Without making any analysis, without checking the characteristics of water, a water that remains for a long time inside a plastic bottle under the sun, that it tastes like plastic. Still, we think it's better than the water running through the mountain. Why? Oh, because it's mineral water. We gave a name to it, and that name represents safety. Healthy water. And we attribute this idea. If it's in the bottle, it's pure. Or not. If we need to choose the water that comes inside a bottle and the water from the stream, which water spontaneously we think it's more clean? The one in the bottle. because that's a matter of name. Then if we go to analyze, we may see that actually the water in the bottle was kept in plastic. When plastic remains under the sun, it has microparticles of plastic that our body assimilates as female hormone, creating many, many problems in our body and mind, and many other health issues which comes because water in bottle, plastic bottles, but still it's pure. And then, like the water from the stream here that we have, that now it's coming out nearby the entrance of the temple, we did analysis to the water. Water was mostly very good. When we did the analysis, because it's not a water that comes deep from under the ground, it's the water that penetrates through the ground until reaches the rock, and then it flows on the surface of the rock. And then when we were building the temple, it touched this part of rock, and then we accumulate this water, we take this water. And it had when we did the analysis, it had some sort of, small signs of animal feces, like wild animals. I don't know. I feel safer than the water in the plastic bottle. That's my own understanding, okay? But I close the brackets now. We are not here to talk about water and all of this. What we are here to say is that, sorry, I need to still open the brackets a moment. Somehow, we believe, at least we follow, that it's a better solution to transport water for hundreds and thousands of kilometers, consuming energy, polluting, drinking a water that mostly is not the top because of the whole way and that, then finding ways and placing energy to have clean water where we are. Something is wrong. But anyhow, this is not the subject of today. Okay? So we go back. Someone may be asking, why all of this? We are in the part of the Vajra Master Empowerment. We will come to it. The most powerful aspect and characteristic of any object is the name. And if we understand this, it's actually shocking. If you really think about it well and you see the power of the name, it's actually quite shocking. The difficulty that we have is that we do not recognize the power of the name. We believe that the object is what we see out of its own characteristics, and the name that we attribute is nothing. Maybe it's our interpretation. But I don't know how clear it is that the bell doesn't exist without the name bell. It doesn't exist. The book doesn't exist without the name book, and like this we can go on and on for each and every phenomenon. If we take out the name book, what exists is a collection of pages that somehow at some point we call book. And if page doesn't exist as a concept, what exists? A piece of paper with words written in it. And then like this we can go on and on. What are words? Are concepts. The other day we were talking even that even the number 1 is a concept. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit enthusiastic about this because it's mind-blowing. If we stop to think with clarity that actually, the number one, mathematics, it's so precise, but it's based on imputation of concept, which is one. What is a unity? If we change the basis of unity, what happens to the whole rest of mathematics? Okay, think about pi, the number, 3.14, right? It changes completely. Or any other thing. So what defines that all the mathematics, it's a basic concept of what defines a unity. And that's just the value of the name, the value of a concept. Because what the name does is take many parts and put them together, creating a unity. Okay? But the name, which brings characteristics and functions, must be attributed to a collection of parts that have the capacity to sustain that characteristics and functions. Okay? For instance, this object, it's a bit heavy. Okay? Is a bell, right? Okay, what happens if I truly believe that it's a chocolate cake? Okay? I see it there upside down, and I am very much sure that it is a chocolate cake. Okay, make another example. The other day I went home I was sitting in the room, below my room in Rinpoche house, and in the garden there is some sort of, how to say this, toys for children, this peluche, how to call this? Like peluche, like animals for children to play and so on. Teddy bears, like not a teddy bear, like a small wild boar. Okay? And it was outside because the dog was playing with it, and it was looking with the back, and it had rained, so it was all wet. And for an instant I saw and said, oh, we have wild boars in the garden. I had just come down from the center, there were wild boars going around the center. So I went home, I saw that, and I said, there is a wild boar in the center, the first imprint. Then I looked again, I said, no, it's not. Okay? So, it doesn't matter how much I believe that it's a wild boar, or how much I believe that this is a chocolate cake. I can truly believe that it's a chocolate cake as I can truly believe that the wild boar is there, and I can get afraid of it, or I can get attached to the chocolate cake. I cannot eat it. It's not able to fulfill the functions of a chocolate cake. In the same way as this toy is not able to fulfill the functions of a wild boar. Right? So, it doesn't matter how much I believe in something, how strong is the value that I attribute. If the parts to which I attribute that value cannot sustain the characteristics and the functions of the name that I give, it's a wrong perception. Okay? There are wrong perceptions, many. So, but what happens when I attribute the name that the basis of imputation can fulfill the functions and the characteristics? That name is correct. That perception is correct. Okay? And still, every object that we know, to which we give one name, which means we choose one set of characteristics and functions and we attribute to that collection of parts. And in the moment that we give one name, what we do to it is that most of the times we take away the opportunity of other names. Because when we give a name, we say, this is a bell. We don't say, oh, it's a bell among other many things. We say, this is a glass, this is that. And in the moment that we give a name, we take away all the other possibilities that are lying there at the same time. I don't know how clear this is. Because we are not aware that we are giving a name. As we give the name, we believe that that name exists, that object exists as we name it, out of its own characteristics. Okay? Now, is it clear up to here? Chiaro? Più o meno? Ok, più o meno va già bene. Più o meno is something at least, you know? Sometimes I think, I'm sorry to say, I explain many things, at least I try, and then I ask, do you understand? And people say yes, and then I'm wondering, what did you understand? Because, communication is like this. It's faulty. Sometimes people come and say, oh, Lama, you said this and that. And I was thinking, did I say that? Sometimes it happens. Anyhow, now, what are the bases of imputation of a book? What are the parts of a book? Base of imputation and parts, we mean the same. What are the parts that compose a book? Cover, pages, words, paragraphs, chapters, ink, paper, okay? Well, then on top of that there is a name given, which we say book, that put all these pages and paper and ink together into one entity. That's what we call book, okay? And a book have a particular function and particular characteristics, okay? Now, what is the basis of imputation, or the parts of the self? Of me, of you. What makes us what we are? Which are the parts that compose our self? Body and mind. Okay? And then there is identity, I, name. Okay? So, the basis of imputation of the self is body and mind. Okay? We are composed by body and mind. Very often we have the sensation that we have a body and that we have a mind. No? If we ask anyone, do you have a body? What's the answer? Yes. Now, what would you say to someone that says, do you have a body? And the person says, no. Something wrong with you. No? Then, okay, do you have a mind? The answer is yes. But the correct answer, according to me, if someone asks me, do you have a body? No. Do you have a mind? No. I don't have a body and I don't have a mind because I cannot exist independently of the body and the mind that compose myself. Because if I have a body and if I have a mind, if I own a body and if I own a mind, the I should exist independently of the body and independently of the mind. There is a verse in Tibetan which is assigned to Buddha that says, Gelonda kuryoto kurkurwa poyoto, which says, oh my dear monk, Gelondak, kuryoto kurkurwa poyoto, there is the luggage and there is the luggage carrier. Which is like a metaphor to say the absurd in order to understand the correct. So the luggage means body and mind, the aggregates, and the luggage carrier is the self. But actually, is it like this? No. It's the other way around. So, do we own a mind or we are composed by mind? Do we own a body or we are made of body also? Okay? We are made of body and mind. Okay? We do not own a body and we do not own a mind. Okay? But still we have this idea of this self that exists in an independent way, that owns the body, that owns the mind, and there is there, somewhere we cannot even identify where. Okay? So, we are made of body, mind, in the same way that a book is made of pages and cover and paper and ink. Okay? There are parts that compose the book, there are parts that compose ourselves. And Buddha described this part into 5. There is the body, and then there are 4 aspects of the mind, which Buddha described it as consciousness, which is the mind that perceives the 5 senses, plus the sense of the mind, which is our memories and ideas and so on, so the 6 senses. Then we have sensation. Sensation is the state of mind through which we experience the world. Okay? We judge if something is good or bad through sensation. Then there is discrimination or discernment, which is the aspect of our mind that is able to name things. It's the aspect of our mind through which we say, this is this, that is that, this is a table, that is a book. Okay? And then there is all the other so-called compositional factors, which are desire, aversion, attachment, aspiration, effort, laziness. There are so many other aspects of the mind which are numbered at 49, but that could be much more than that. Okay? Which is 51 mental factors, of which sensation and discrimination or discernment are 2. So we are left with other 49. Okay? But another moment we can go through the 51 mental factors. That's a subject I like very much, but that's not the moment right now to open the 51 mental factors. So, we are made of these 2 parts, okay? Body and mind is made of sensation, discrimination, consciousness, and compositional factors. Okay? Is this clear? Again, sensation is the aspect of the mind through which we experience the world, pleasure or suffering or neutral. Consciousness is the part of our mind that perceive our 6 senses. Say sensei. Our 6 senses. Then we have discernment is the characteristic of our mind that is able to name things and to discern one thing from the other. And then compositional factors, it's all the other aspects of the mind together. Okay, positive, negative, all the other aspects of our own character. Okay. So, this is basically what we are made of, body and mind. But there is another part yet, which is our identity. Okay? Our identity, most of the times, it's based on an past experience or an idealized image. Let's try to understand it better. I come to know you. Okay? We meet each other. And then we project our own idealized image of each other. I see you, I name you, and I have my own idea of what you are. Clear? Okay? Then what happens is that after 6 months we come to meet again. who do I expect to see? The same person, not that I saw and I met, the same person that I related in my mind. I expect that my own idealized image of you fits in you 6 months after. And then we think that we are not crazy, you know. How can that be possible? Does it ever really work? It works sometimes because our idealized image are so rough sometimes that we don't even see that it doesn't work, you know. Sometimes we are so busy with our own view of reality, thinking that that's reality, that we even don't see that actually it doesn't fit. But what happens is that we look at the other, body and mind, we perceive the body through appearance, we perceive the mind of the person through manifested appearance, which is there are different manifestations of emotions and the mind, such as verbal manifestation, facial expressions, energy from the body. There are different aspects that we see in the person through which we judge the person's mind. Okay? So we say he's kind, or he is angry, or he is this or that. We name people and we create an idea based on appearance that we can perceive. And then plus the body, and we put all this together in a package and we say, this is Devadatta. We gave a name. Okay? What happened is that that name doesn't comprehend every aspect of the person, or does it? No. Okay? One of the big mistakes that we do is that we mix up the emotions and the actions with the person. We judge the person by judging their actions and their choices and their emotions. So I see you angry, I say you are an angry person. But I am also kind. But you are an angry person. If we think about each one of us, did you ever get angry? So you are an angry person. Have you ever been kind? Have you ever been patient? So you are a patient person, but how can you be an angry person and a patient person at the same time? It's not possible. So you are not an angry person and you are not a patient person, you are just a person. And you have moments of anger and moments of patience. And moments of sadness and moments of joy. And moments of all other types of emotions and thoughts and actions and so on. So we are not the actions, we are not the emotions. We are a flow of emotions and choices and actions constantly. So, when relating to other people, if we are able to distinguish between actions, emotions, and person, I can see you acting in a certain way that I don't like, and I can very clearly go against that action, not against you. There is a big difference actually. Because if I say, this action is not good, how can we avoid this action to happen? No, you are lying. Oh, you are being aggressive. It's not good to be aggressive. This aggression is harming many of us. So how can we make so that you are not anymore aggressive? I don't need to punish you because you are aggressive. I don't need to go against you because you are aggressive. I need to go against your aggression. There is a big difference in these two. Okay? And if we're able to make this distinction, we already make a big step in our lives. Now, when we look at people, normally do we make this distinction? Or we judge people by their actions and characteristics? We judge them without truly knowing them. So when we give a name to someone, most of the time we do not really take into consideration more. I'm not even saying all aspects. We don't take into consideration even most aspects, even half of the aspects of the person. Okay? And not only we don't take into consideration half of the aspects of the person, it's like we name a book that we have not even read the first chapter. We just look at the title. And we are already judging the book. And then afterwards we start reading the book and we see it's a good book, but we thought it was a bad book, and we say, no, the chapters are wrong because the book is a bad book. Because we give more importance to the name that we give than to the direct experience that we have with the parts. So, in relation to that, in the same way that we name other people based on some characteristics that we are able to perceive, and we relate to other people through an idealized image of the other person, strange enough, we do the same with our own selves. Okay. When we say, I am, when we think about me, do we have our own identity? Do we have, if we need to describe ourselves, do we give names and characteristics to ourselves? I am this, I am that, I am like this, I am like that. We have, no? Very often, we name ourselves, we judge ourselves based on experiences, based on choices, based on reactions, which we are not experiencing right now. No, I may say, I am a lazy person. Or I may say, I have lazy moments. It is a different thing. So, the point is, if we are able to transform the different parts that compose ourselves, this doesn't mean yet that we change our own identity. Because most of the times our identity is a mix-up of our previous memories and a future projection of an idealized image of ourselves. Because there is the mental image of what I was, there is the mental image of what I wanted to be, what others expected me to be, what I should be and I am not. There is the mental image of what I want to become, of what I should be. Okay? If our identity was based only in the present moment, direct experience, it would be so different. Okay. So, in the same way that the name that we give to something changes completely the object, the name that we give to ourselves changes completely ourselves. And by name, I don't mean the name which can be Paul or Julius or Claudia or Lama or whatever name of persons. By name, I mean our own identity. Okay? So, one of the important things is to generate an identity that is based in our qualities, not in our negative, how do you say, condizionamenti, our negative conditioning, okay, habits. You know? Like I see very often people that they react maybe with anger, but in the moment what they have actually is a deep wound from something that happened in the past that they are not aware of, and very often something touches and that wound comes out with aggression. So if I change the identity, I am not angry, you know. I have a deep wound that is coming up. It's just a memory of the past. Instead being the world that is wrong. It already makes a big difference. So one of the important steps is to gradually develop an identity that is based on our qualities, that is based on the positive aspects, and gradually disconnect our identity from our negativities, which doesn't mean that we don't see them anymore. Yes, there is anger, it's a habit, and I will change that habit. Yes, there is jealousy, it's a habit, and I'm changing that habit. I'm not cultivating, I'm not nourishing that habit anymore. I am not that. Okay, that's an important part of the path. So, through the empowerment of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, the process that we go through is that of identifying ourselves with our 5 aggregates. Basically, we are recognizing our potential and then developing it. When we started with the lotuses and the sit syllables, the symbols and the Buddhas, we are gradually recognizing our potential and growing it within us. So we recognize our power of realization and rejoicing. We recognize our humility and generosity. We recognize our love and compassion. We recognize our satisfaction and concentration. We recognize our wisdom and infinite inner space. So we start recognizing our qualities. So once we have actually gone through each one of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas and identified ourselves within these qualities and saying, okay, I am wisdom, I am satisfaction, and so on, we reach the next step, which is a sort of conclusion that comes out of it. It's like you are reading a book and you look at first chapter, very nice. Second chapter, beautiful. Third chapter, wonderful. Fourth chapter, profound. Fifth chapter, inspiring. So is it a good book or not? Yes. Okay, as all the chapters are good. So we look at our 5 aggregates. Our body is pure. Our sensation are pure. The discernment, it's pure. The consciousness is pure. The compositional factors are pure. So I am pure. So it's first we identify ourselves with the different qualities related to each one of our 5 aggregates and our 5 Dhyani Buddhas. And then finally, in the Vajramaster empowerment, in which we visualize ourselves as Buddha Vajradhara, Buddha Vajradhara is described as the union of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. Okay? So the iconography is that Buddha Vajradhara is blue in color, holding Vajra on the right hand, the bell in the left hand, and it has the hugging mudra. Okay? It is represented above me up. If you look where there is Akshobhya, in the center is Buddha Vajradhara, up there. Okay, in union with Vajradhattvishvari in the representation. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, Buddha Vajradhara, we visualize that we are with this beautiful blue, dark color body. And sometimes, I'm sorry if I add something that has to do, but it's not so like much. Sometimes I listen people saying, oh, in Buddhism, you don't have representations of dark-skinned people. The Buddhas are white like this. That's not true. If we look from the time of Buddha, Vajrapani, he was black. Had a complete dark skin. And the dark blue color, it's representing black, actually. So the union of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas is black, in a way. The union of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas has this dark skin, which is this dark, beautiful, dark blue skin. Okay? This is just brackets. It just, sometimes, we have these biases and we look, anyhow, we see everything through our own filter, no? So we come from a culture in Buddhism where the type of racial distinction simply doesn't exist. But when we look from that perspective, we'll see it everywhere. Anyhow, sorry that I changed subject. So, we visualize ourselves as Vajradhara, holding a Vajra, which is method and great bliss in the right hand, holding a bell, which is wisdom, correct view of reality, on the left hand, with a hugging mudra, symbolizing that we are in the perfect union of method and wisdom, of great bliss and emptiness. We are within this beautiful, profound state of peace, with joy, in harmony with each and every sentient being and every phenomena, as we realize the ultimate nature of the lack of inherent existence of every phenomenon. Okay. In this moment, Vajradhara, the Vajra Master empowerment, one of the meanings of it is that after having transformed the basis of imputation, the 5 aggregates, we transform the actual imputation. We give out to ourselves a new name. Instead of saying, I am this ordinary being, blah, 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 we go and we look, okay, body is pure, mind is pure, so I am pure. I am a Buddha. I am a fully realized Buddha. And in this moment of the practice, as we do the hugging mudra, in one moment we dissolve into light, and then we reappear with this beautiful blue body, holding Vajra and bell within the hugging mudra. And we experience this inner state of profound peace and infinite space. It is very important in this moment of the practice, more than the visualization itself, for us to bring the result into the path. And in this moment, we allow ourselves to experience, in the best of our ability, what it means to be a Buddha. Let's just like role-playing. I am a Buddha. What would be if I would be a Buddha? What would I say? Most probably I wouldn't say anything. That's very often more wise. But what would I do? How would I be if I was a Buddha? What would I experience? What would I feel? And one shortcut for that is think about the inner state of our own Guru, like Lama Rinpoche. And imagine Rinpoche's love and wisdom and stability and joy and kindness. And then we imagine becoming more and more near, and then suddenly we are one, and we experience that state. We allow ourselves to experience that state of peace and joy and harmony and everything else. We allow ourselves to go beyond this ordinary identity that we have. Okay? And we haven't done that in an instant. It's a process that we have been building up. We started this process by taking refuge in the very beginning and then requesting the blessings. And then we did the 3 transformations in which we died somehow. We simulated our own death, so this ordinary identity gone. And then gradually we develop all the qualities of a Buddha, symbolized in the 5 chakras. We developed each and every quality of a Buddha. And then suddenly we become it. I am Vajradhara. Okay? And we focus on this inner experience of being a Buddha. This moment of the practice, there is no particular recitation. When we do the practice recited more quickly, one thing that Rinpoche added few times, that's why sometimes I repeat it, is in an instant, I transform into Buddha Vajradhara. Okay? So basically, we just do the hugging mudra, And more than focusing on the external appearance, we focus into the internal experience of being a Buddha. Okay? And we allow it. It's not easier. Strange enough, we are so attached to our ordinary appearance. It's so tough sometimes just to let it go for 1 minute, you know? Because in the Vajrayana practice, when we do a self-generation, when we call bringing the result into the path, it's not that I see myself as Buddha Vajradhara. That's not the right way of practicing. The right way is I am Buddha Vajradhara. No, even the description of the visualization is not like I appear to myself as if I was a Buddha. No. What we say is, I am Tara, I am Yamantaka, I am, in this case, Buddha Vajradhara. Okay? And when we say to ourselves, I am a Buddha, it's not only the external appearance, that's the less. It's mainly the internal experience. So, for example, we talked before about the 5 wisdoms, no? I think yesterday or the day before. We talked about the 5 wisdoms. So imagine, I am a Buddha means I can perceive clearly every phenomena that is around me, mirror-like wisdom. I can discern every phenomena, seeing the particular characteristics of every phenomena, wisdom of discernment. My mind, it's of the nature of emptiness and it's free from every defilement, dharma, dhatu, wisdom. I have perfect equanimity as I can see in every phenomena all the similarities that are within them. Wisdom of equanimity. I have no any doubt or uncertainty. Instead, I have certainty and trust in every action I do, all realizing wisdom. I have no blockages. My mind is completely free, with infinite inner space. Okay? In perfect harmony with myself and everyone else, in a profound state of peace, in a very blissful experience. Okay? So these are some characteristics, and we need to try to bring them to our own experience. And there is a part in there in which we allow ourselves to experience it. Okay. Every part of the practice has its own importance. There is not one part of the practice which will say, oh, this one is not so important, you can go quick through it. Truly, every moment, every part of the practice has its own importance. And the beautiful thing also is that it's something that goes building up gradually. It's a process that we go through. And here is like we have reached almost, it's like if we have reached at the top. Okay? In this moment we have been building up since we started generating the correct motivation in order to become a Buddha, to help sentient beings. And then gradually we invited Guru Buddha, we make offerings, prostrations, and then gradually we request the blessings, then we make purifications, we generate ourselves in a pure body and appearance, then we concentrate on our qualities, and we build up until we become a fully realized Buddha. Okay? Then, this is like where we have reached our objective, basically. What happens is that the next step is that we do the same thing on a deeper level. We need to generate, we are still on a gross level based on body and mind on a gross level. We need to change our own identity and transform the basis of imputation of body and mind at a subtle and a very subtle level, which is the clear light and illusory body, so-called, which is our very subtle body and mind. Okay? So for the time being, we are already in a very important moment in which we transform completely our 5 aggregates and our identity on a gross level. And this is when we reach the Vajra Master empowerment. After that, we need to purify and transform our identity, our experience on a subtle level, which is the secret and wisdom empowerment, and then on a very subtle level, which is the word empowerment. And we will go through these aspects mainly tomorrow, because if we open this now, then it will take very long, and I think we already have a lot to think, actually, from what we just saw today, okay? The most important thing is remember that the most powerful characteristics of every phenomena is the name. And when we attribute the name, we attribute characteristics. We give power to it in a certain way. And we do the same thing with ourselves. So the more we identify ourselves with suffering, the more we will suffer. The more we identify ourselves with anger and with jealousy, I am an angry person, I am a jealous person, the more we will act through that emotions. The more I identify myself with love and respect and compassion and satisfaction and generosity and so on, the more I identify myself through these qualities, the more I will cultivate them and the more I will act through them. Okay? So again, one of the most powerful aspects of ourselves is our own identity. And in the practice of self-healing, we transform the body, the mind, and the identity. So in the moment of the Vajra Master empowerment, it's very much connected into changing our own identity. We have transformed the body and the mind, the 5 aggregates, and now we generate a new identity based on a pure body and a pure mind. And this is also what in the Vajrayana is called Drebulamkir, which means bringing the result into the path. I am not yet a Buddha. My 5 aggregates are not yet pure, but I imagine them being so. I generate an identity as if I was already a Buddha. And by identifying myself with my qualities fully developed, I gradually develop them. Because the more I identify with one aspect of myself, the stronger I will cultivate and develop that aspect of myself. So, our identity is actually very, very important. Okay. To conclude, let's do together a brief practice of self-healing. Okay? Today, due to all the things together, we did the teachings a little bit shorter, but I think we went directly to the meaning. And then tomorrow, that is the last day of this period of teachings. We will go, tomorrow we have morning and afternoon, and I think we can, without many problems, we can go through the empowerment, which is the secret empowerment, the wisdom empowerment, and the word empowerment, and then there is the last part of the conclusion of self-healing. We can manage to go through that tomorrow. Okay? So we just do one practice of self-healing all together. There is something I want to do. I don't know if to do now or another moment, but better to do now, otherwise the moments pass. Is we will do self-healing, as Rinpoche did many times with us, without sound, in silence. Only the mudras and the visualizations. Okay, sure, we need to remember which they are, but at least then we just follow the mudras. Okay? So we just recite the first part, which is the preliminaries, and then when start the actual part of self-healing, we will do only with the mudras without the recitation. Okay? Namo Guru Bhye, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhye, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Guru Bhye, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Tri Ratnaya, Sangye Chodan Tsoge Chonamla, Chancho Pardo Dani Kepsuch, Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki, Drola Pinchira Sangye Drubra Shoa Sangye Chodan Tsoge Chonamla, Chancho Pardo Dani Kepsuch, Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki, Drola Pinchira Sangye Drubra Shoa Sangye Chodan Tsoge Chonamla, Dani Kepso Che Dagi Chinso Gibe Sonam Ki Drola Pinchira Sangye Drubara Shu Magyura Simchen Tamchen Dewa Dan Dewe Gyudan Dembra Gyurche Simchen Tamche Dunga Dan Dunga Gi Gyudan Tawara Simchen Tamche Dunga Mepe Dewa Dan Mitre Wara Gyurche Simchen Tamche Nirin Chada Nidan Drewe Tang Nyumla Nepra Gyurche Simchen Tamche Lusimgi Dunga Le Soshin Chayun Lusim Dewa Dan Dembra Gyurche Simchen Tamche Ngaso Topchin China Nuchu Koryo Tanshin Tsangmarane Gyurche Simchen Tamche Dan Zambu Lingi Kendro Tada Chinangi Shide Dan Tukun Dembra Gyurche Tamche Dunye Sashida Singma Laso Mepa Dan Lakti Tanyam Bendo Ranshin Chambo Negurchi Al-Hadami Chebeze Ngosum Shadan Yikitru Kunsan Chetri Lana Me Namke Kangun Kyapgurchi Om Namo Bhagavate Benza Sarva Pramadan Tata Gata Ya Arahate Samya Sambudaya Tayata Om Benze Benze Ma Tetsa Benze Maha Vidya Benze Ma Bodhi Chitta Benze Maha Bodhi Mandupa Sangramana Benze Sarva Karma Avarana Vishud Benze Swaha Kuncho Sumgi Dembada Sangye Danjan Sempa Tamche Kichingi Lavdan Soni Yonso Zopeng Adan Chimbodan Chikin Yinambra Dajin Samgi Mikyape Topki Tishin Yitu Kyurchi Lama Ke Trinchen Tsawe Lama Ke Kyamne Kundu Lama Ke Malu Simche Kungi Dude Pungche Mize Jumze La Ngona Malu Yanda Kingyurupe Chumden Korche Nedir Sheksu Soya Gosungupe Gone Chatselo Ngosha Yitru Chopa Malubu Tome Nesa Dikton Tamche Sha Kebra Gewa Namla Jairang Korwa Maton Pardo Lekshune Drola Chuki Korlo Korwada Dashen Genam Chanchu Chemborongo Sashi Peki Chukshi Meto Tram Riraba Lingshi Nide Gembadi Sange Shinto Mikte Ulwarki Drogun Namda Shingla Cheparasho Yedam Guru Ratna Mandral Kam Niryatayami. Michi wetse ma tongwa na te ime la mi kyo dorje ku se wa tong ne chi da pa chom te chi me rik tsi nyur tu to pare shon. We conclude here for today. Final dedications. We dedicate specially this day's teachings also for our friend Rudy, known for our friends as Lama Marpa. And then so we dedicate our merits for his state of peace, and that he may be, as I think he is, guided in the best way and in the best state of mind and heart. Sa shi pege chukshi me to chan re rab ling shi ni de gempa di sangye shinto mikte ulwar ki drogu namda shingla che par shoya che tson la me kutse rab tenchi namkar trinle chokchur gepa dang losan tempe drume drove munsel tatu ne gyur chi yedam guru radna mandrala kam niryata yami Kyewa kuntu yanda lama dan drame cheki pela longche chi sadan lamge yente rabso ne dorje change kopa Nyur tobe sho nimo dele tsendele nime kuyan delekshi nintsen takto delekpe koncho sumke jingelo koncho sumke ngodrubutsol koncho sumke trashisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle all the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. All'alba o al tramonto, di notte o durante il giorno, possano i tre gioielli concederci le loro benedizioni, possano aiutarci ad ottenere tutte le realizzazioni e cospargere il sentiero della nostra vita con molti segni di buon auspicio.